What is up guys, it's Mega giving you my Mekk-Knight deck for Link Evolution. This deck is using a invoke kaju strategy in it, so if you enjoy this, hit that like down below because it really helps out the channel grow. And like I always say in every single video, if you are struggling to find any single card in the game, I highly recommend you check out the card hub. For not only does it tell you of the cards in the game, it also tells you where to find it, should it be in a card pack, challenge mode, campaign, and it will even tell you how rare the card is. So without any further ado guys, let's get into the video. Starting off with the deck guys, it's Alistair the Evoke. This card basically sets up the deck so good because when it's summoned to the field, you get to add a invocation, I can't pronounce that word, to your hand, and that's basically your fusion card. Also you can that card also has another effect as well, but for Alistair, you can also send it to the grave to basically increase when your monster attack by 1000, which does come in handy. But Alistair, it's good for kind of searching out the fusion card. And moving on to the 2 copies of Ash Blossom. If we could have 3 guys, I'd have 3, but I can't, so we're running 2. If your opponent does anything that involves the deck, add a card from the deck, special summon from the deck, send a card from the deck to the grave, Ash Blossom negates it, so that's why it's just a must. I am running the the Sea Kaiju. We are running Kaijus in this deck. All the Kaijus have the same effect where you can summon it from your hand to your opponent's field by attributing a monster on their field, so it gets around that pesky cards that, like say, can't be destroyed in battle or by card effects. This card distributes it, gets rid of it. I think you could even do this on Chaos Mask Dragon. Don't quote me on that, but I think you can. But these cards can get, the Kaijus can get rid of them, and we also have cards to deal with the Kaijus, so it's not a problem. And also you can special summon them with World Legacy secrets, I believe. Then continue with the hand traps. We're running 3 Ghost Ogre. I would run 2 and drop 1 for an Ash Blossom, but I can't because Ash Blossom's limited to 2. So that's why I'm running the 3 Ghost. Should your opponent activate a monster effect, spell or trap effect that's on the field, you literally just discard the ghost, destroy it. So your opponent, I say, even if your opponent, I say you're going for a mirror match, they summon out an Alistair, you can just discard the ghost, destroy the Alistair, and that way, yes, they'll still activate their effect, but they lose the access to the Alistair, which can hinder them, especially for the fusions. Continue with the Kaijus. We have the Star Destroying Kaiju, and we have the this Sticky String Kaiju. So the reason why we're using these 2 is because this one's a light attribute, this one's an earth, and the other one was a water, and they are all for the evoke cards. Like, they do come in handy. And also, like I say, Kaijus, we have 3 of them that can get over your opponent's monsters, and our trap does bring them back as well. So say it's in the graveyard, you can just play this, boom, you have an instant 3300 attack point beater or 2400 defense beater. You name it, that's what these cards are there for. Moving on to the Mekk-Knights themselves, we have the 2 copies of Blue Sky. This and Purple Nightfall are your search cards. So all the Mekk-Knights share the same effect, where if there are 2 or more cards in the same column, you can special summon them from your hand. You can only special summon 1 of them once per turn this way, so please bear that in mind. But should Blue Sky be summoned to the field, as a matter of its normal special summoned, you get to add 1 Mekk-Knight from your deck to your hand equal to the number of cards in your opponent's field. So if your opponent has 2 in the same column as Blue Sky, you add 2 cards. If it's 1 card, because you've set a card to summon it, you add 1 card. That's what Blue Sky is there for searching out all your Mekk-Knights. 1 Green Horizon. This card is also kind of a searcher, but instead of its effect activating when it's summoned, it activates when it declares when an attack is declared involving it. So I believe it should work if your opponent attacks it, because it's an attack involving this card. Yeah, you get to add a Mekk-Knight from your grave to your hand, though it's not from your deck. And the 2 copies of Indigo Eclipse. This bad boy is kind of like your setup. So similar to the other ones, if it's special summoned and all that, But its effect is you get to target one Mekk-Knight you control and move it to a different column. So say for instance in this, right? So in this column that I'm currently on now, your opponent has 2 cards. You special summon Indigo Eclipse. You can then move it 1 space to the left or to the right, or whichever way you want to. That frees up that zone. So if you have another Indigo, another Mekk-Knight, you get special summon it into that column because that column is now free. Free as it's still got the 2 cards. So that's why Indigo Eclipse is good, because you can just keep loading up your field. And also you can use that this effect during your opponent's turn as well. And the 3 copies of Purple Nightfall. So this card, it's kind of like another Searcher with Blue Sky. So when this card is on the field during your opponent's turn as well. So say your opponent activates a trap, you can trap or like anything that would target Purple Nightfall. You can play this effect to chain it. You can banish it. You can banish one Mekk-Knight. Doesn't have to be Purple Nightfall. It can be another one. Until your next standby, and if you do, you get to add a Mekk-Knight from your deck to your hand. So, like I say, you summon this guy. You can even declare an attack. Then you can banish it, add a card. Then, because your zone's free, you can special summon it. Then go into link plates and stuff. Or if you want to, just banish another card. That's like, say, the Green Horizon, because it's weaker, and summon out a monster that's stronger. You can do that if you want. The 1 copy of Red Moon. This card is like an MST for monsters. So you can banish a Mekk-Knight from your graveyard to target 1 face-up monster that's in the same column, and you can destroy it. But it has to be in the same column as this card. But if you've got cards like Indigo Eclipse, you can just keep moving Red Moon across. And Yellow Star, this is basically the opposite. Instead of being a monster, it's a spell. So this is kind of like your MST in the deck. This is like, you mainly use this for more defending than anything, because it's a 28 defense, which is very good. And like I say, but you have to banish cards to activate these 2 cards effects though. Then then that's it for this for the Mekk-Knight. So going to the 1 spellbook, Magician of Prophecy. This card is great because you get to add a spellbook from your deck to your hand. We are running 4 spellbooks in the deck, so just this 1 card can search out the others, and it's going to mill your deck as well. And also it's a water attribute, so it does work for the invokes as well. And that's it from the monsters, guys. Running to the spells, you're running the 2 instant fusion. We are running 3 cards this card can target. The 1 Winder, evoke card, and Thousand Eyes Strict, which all near enough like are fantastic in their own right. So this card just sets it up fantastically. The 1 Interrupted Kaju Slumber. This card is like a board wipe. It destroys as many monsters as possible. So it's like a dark hole. Then you get to special summon in attack mode 2 kaijus with different names. We have 3 kaijus, so it works brilliantly. You get summon 1 to each side, so you can just summon the weak kaiju, the C one, to your opponent's side, and you can special summon the star one with 3,300, which is just brilliant because you can just go for a free attack and it just wipes your entire opponent's board. And also during your main phase, except the turn this card was sent to the grave, you can banish it and you get to add a kaiju from your deck to your hand. So it also searches out a kaiju to get around your opponent's card. And moving on to the 2 Invocation. I believe I'm saying that right, I don't know. So this is the card that you search when you play Alistair. So what this card does, you get special summon 1 fusion monster from your extra deck. But if you're going to summon a evoke monster, which obviously is what we're going to be doing, you can also banish monsters from your field or your opponent or either player's graveyard. So we are running a few evokes. I think we're running a light, wind, water, and earth. So we're running 4 types of attributes. So if your opponent has any of them in the grave, yeah, we're getting rid of them. So it really comes in handy. And also, it is going to be banished, so you have to bear that in mind. But you can target this card in your grave, and you can return it back to the deck, and then you get to take an Alistair that is banished, and you get to add the Alistair back to your hand. So just this 1 card and the Alistair, they just keep recycling each other. So you summon the Alistair, add this card, play it, you get to summon your evoke monster. This card goes to the grave, and you've banished Alistair because you're fusion summoned. Then you can basically return this back to the deck, add the Alistair from your banished back to your hand. So you can just keep going with just 2 cards. But yeah, it's really easy to search them out, so that's why we're running 2. Then we're running the 2 Magical Meltdown. This card searches out the Alistair when it's summoned. You play this instant Alistair, then you can summon the Alistair instant fusion card. So that's just how it works as well. And also it also has some other effects where the activation of your cards and effects that include a fusion cannot be negated. So if you play your fusion card, the invocation, I believe Magical Meltdown makes it so your opponent can't use cards. Can't use cards. Also, your opponent's cards and effects cannot activate when a monster is fusion summoned as well, so they can't even do anything to chain the summon. We're using 1 Monster Reborn standard. We've got many cards we're going to be sending to the graveyard with this, so it just comes in handy. Soul Charge, you play this, you're near enough 1 just because you've got so many beastie cards. And yeah, you can't attack, but you're just setting up the field and you just win. Run on to the spellbooks. We're running 2 Spellbook of Knowledge and 2 Spellbook of Secrets. So, Spellbook of Knowledge, you get to send either a spellcaster or a spellbook from our hand, or face up and send to the grave. We get to draw the 2 cards. So, a little trick you can do: you literally just summon out the prophecy. Ooh. You get someone out. Yes, you get someone out the prophecy. Then you get to add the knowledge to your hand. You just send the prophecy to the grave. You get to draw 2 cards. So that's good for searching out the deck even more. And it also works on Alistair because Alistair is also a spellcaster as well. Or you could add the secrets to your hand. Then you get to play the secrets. Then you get to add a spell book from your deck to your hand. So basically, you can play the prophecy, add the secrets, use the secrets to add the knowledge. Use the knowledge to get rid of the prophecy. So with just 1 card summoned, you get to add free cards, so you're draining your deck out, so you get to the card you want quicker. So that's the whole point of that thing, just to mill your deck out more. Terraforming, using this because we're using the Magical Meltdown. You play this, you get to basically add the Meltdown and you get to search out the Alistair. You want to see this quick? Running the 1 World Legacy Key. When this card is activated, you can target one of your banished Mekk-Knights, or another world legacy card, and you get to add it to your hand. So because we are, again, like I say, we're using the invoke engine, which will banish our cards. This world legacy key will add it back to our hand, and also if you're using cards like your Red Moon that banishes your cards, you get to add it back to your hand as well. And also you can negate any traps that activate in the same column as a Mekk-Knight. So if we have any of our Mekk-Knight cards, even the Link ones, if it's in the same column as your opponent, they can't play traps. And you can just keep using Indigo Eclipse to just keep moving your monsters around, so it prevents your opponent from using any traps. I am using the Run Scar. I was thinking of dropping this and putting in another key. But what it does is all Mekk-Knights gain an extra 300 attack and defense. And once per turn, we can discard a Mekk-Knight or World Legacy card to draw a card. So I kind of left it in just for draws in case we can't get the Magical Meltdown. Because it is a field spell, so you can search it out with Terraforming as well. It's mainly just kind of like to dump your Mekk-Knights in the grave if your hand's just full and you can't do anything else and you get to draw a card. It does have a kind of a different effect which you don't really use because it is really, really hard to pull off. You get to banish 8 Mekk-Knights that's in your grave with different names, and you get to send your opponent's entire hand and extra deck to the grave. I don't think we can pull that off because I don't think we have 8 ones. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 6, so yeah, we can't pull off that effect. It's mainly just for the search. And that's it for the spells. We are running 3 copies of World Legacy Secrets. This card is broken. I'm surprised this card is not limited to 1 or 2, because oh my god, it's fantastic. This is basically a Monster Reborn for any of our level 5 or higher monsters. So, all of our Mekk-Knights, all of our Kaijus, this card works on. Apart from Thousand Eyes Strict, it works on every single one of our fusion cards. So, say you played Instant Fusion to summon out the window. And that means you go into like a fusion play or whatever, or you go into a link play with the window. You can then play World Legacy Secrets during your opponent's turn to bring back the Winder. Boom, your opponent can't special summon more than once. That can shut down a lot of decks where they can special summon once, just with one trap. Or you can bring out a Kaju with 3,300 attack, or Mekk-Knight. You name it, that's what this card can do. It's so fantastic. I love this trap. And that's it for the deck, guys. We're on to the X deck. We are running, of course, like I've said, the one copy of El Shaddai Winder. You basically summon this card with Instant Fusion. It's a level 5, so you can bring it out. It can't attack if you do with the Instant Fusion. If you're going into Winder, you immediately go into a link play with it, just because of, like, say, with the whole secrets. You can go into a fusion with the Winder, but I'd recommend not, because it's such a good card to use with secrets. And the Winder can't be destroyed by opponent's card effects, and each player can only special summon once per turn. So that's just great. You can't use its other effect where you get out a Shadow card from your grave. This card goes, because we're not running anymore. But that's the only reason you're using Winder, just to prevent your opponent from special summoning. The evoke cards are running one evoke Cocytus. This card is kind of like a super heavy samurai. So this card cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects, and nor can it be targeted by your opponent's card effects. And with a 29 defense, it's great. But when this card is in defense mode, you can attack, but you apply its attack points. So even if it's in defense, you can still attack with 1800 defense. So with 1800 attack, which is great, kind of like the samurais do. And I say, if you use this with Alistair, you get sent Alistair to the grave, and this card becomes a 28 attack point beater while it's in defense. So it really comes in handy. Using the one Mekk-Knight Magalenka. That's a really hard word to say. This card that doesn't have an effect. You're basically just going to use it with an Earth attribute. We do have the Earth Kaju, so you can bring this out. This is basically just for a beat. It's 3,000 attacker. Draw. If you're going up against a Chaos Max and you just need to go for power play, discard the Alistair and just go for the attack with this. Or you can banish your opponent's monsters to summon this card as well. Or your opponent's Earth to bring out this card. The Invoke Mecha Abela. It's a shame this card's not a shame you can't have more than this card. I would take out another card in my X deck to put more of this card, but I can't. It's limited to one. Unfortunately, it's so good because we have so many lights. What this card can do is, when a spell, trap, or monster effect is activated, you get to send one of the one of those cards from your deck to your hand. So your opponent. No, sorry, you get. Sorry, I'm saying this wrong. So your opponent. So if your opponent activates a spell, you can discard a spell from your hand to the grave and negate it. They play a trap card that's been. They play one of their traps. You just discard a trap. And also, you not only do you negate it, you banish the card as well. That's why this card's so good, because it just stops your opponent from plays. The one invoked Piglegio. This card, we are running the Ash Blossom, so you can summon this card, Fire Attribute. This card gains 200 attack for each card your opponent controls, and also it can attack all monsters your opponent controls, and also it deals piercing. So this card is good for going for the big push. Opponent's got a board on or whatever, doesn't matter, go for it, does piercing. This card you can also bring out with Instant Fusion, the Raging. Once per turn during either player's turn, you can target one face-up monster on the field and change it to face-down defense. So your opponent's got those monsters that are just they're just tricky, got those stupid effects. You play this card. You can you play this card, flip it down, it can't annoy you anymore. So that's why this card is great, and also, like I say, it's instant fusion material as well. The 1,000 Eyes Restrict, again, instant fusion. This card is so great. So you bring out this card and you get to steal one of your opponent's monsters, and that's the main reason you're going to do it, to steal your opponent's card. And because it's a link, because it's a level 1, you can go into Link Kariba, or you can go into one of your other links. But like I say, the great bit about it is you just play this. Your opponent's got that tricky monster. You play 1,000 Eyes Restrict. You steal that monster like Infinity or Silent Honor Arc would. that gets rid of their monster. Then you just link play into it and get yeah, you're getting rid of your monster, but then you can just keep going, and their card will go to the grave. It's really to get around that tricky monster, but just a great card. And that's it for the fusions. Going on to the links, we have one, a Keshki Magician. This card is great for your kaijus. So when this card is link summoned, you get to add. Phrase that. When the card is link summoned, you return all monsters that this card points to back to the hand. So you tribute your opponent's monsters, summon any one of your kaijus. For this case, we'll choose the Star Kaiju. Then, second you've tributed it, you can choose where that monster's going to go. So you put it in the space where this card's going to point to. Then you link summon into a Keshki, your kaiju bounces back to your hand. So you've tributed your opponent's monster to summon out a kaiju, you've got it back. So that means you can tribute another one of your opponent's monsters with the same kaiju. You don't need to keep searching out the other ones, which is just, in my opinion, broken, because you can just keep tributing your opponent's cards. And that's just why I love this. We're running the wrong Bolo Dragon. Your opponent can't activate card. So your opponent can't target this card with monster effects. Once per turn, you can target one monster your opponent controls. It loses 5 on attack or defense. Your opponent can't negate that effect. And also, if this card attacks opponent's monster during the damage step, you can place it next to one of your links that this card points to, and you send it to the graveyard during the end phase of the next turn. So again, you can steal your opponent's monster, and then you can also go into a link play with that monster or just tribute it. But then I say if you don't choose to do that, you'll go to the graveyard anyway. So this card just gets around it. And the one Decode Talker, it's an easy link for you to go into, and also gains 500 attack for each card it points to. That's very easy to do. And also it has a quick effect where you contribute one monster this card points to. You get to negate the activation of a card or effect that targets it. So your opponent, I don't know, trying to think of a card that tries to afterburners this card. You just tribute a monster this card points to, I don't know, Mekk-Knight. Then you can negate the activation. That's why we're using Decode Talker. Link Rebo, like I say, because we're using Thousand Eyes Strict. You just steal your opponent's monster, then you go into Thousand Eyes to link Rebo. It's as simple as that. The big boss man himself, Mekk-Knight, Spectrum Supreme. If your opponent has 3,000 or less has 3,000 or less life points, guys, you win. It's as simple as that with this card. So it's a link free, but you have to use 2 monsters, and one of them has and 2 of them has to be Mekk-Knights, which is easy to bring out. This card can attack directly if it's the only card in its column. So as long as your opponent doesn't have like a set trap or anything in the same column as this, you win. It's just simple as that. This card cannot be destroyed or targeted by cannot be destroyed or targeted by your opponent's card effects, which is just insane, especially when it can attack directly. And you can send one other card you control in this card's column to the grave, and special summon a Mekk-Knight from your deck in defense. So if you've even got your own card in the same column as this card that's going to prevent it from attacking directly, you just send it to the grave, special summon a Mekk-Knight. It's just easy as that. Some Supreme is your boss monster. The Proxy Dragon, just because it's an easy link to go into, continuing the plays. Skull Dread. This card, you have to use 2 it's a link for, it's another boss monster kind of in the deck. You have to use at least 2 monsters with different names. It's basically not hard to go into. And also, it has kind of an effect based on how many monsters that were used to link summon it. So if you use 2 monsters, if a monster is normal special summoned to a card to a link this card points to, it gains 300 attack. If you use 3 monsters once per turn, you can summon 1 monster from your hand, which is great as well. But if you decide to use 4 monsters, you can draw 4 cards from 4 cards, then place 3 of them from your hand on the bottom of your. Then you get to draw 4 cards and you place 3 of them from your hand to the bottom of your deck in any order. So you draw 4 cards, you think, I don't want them 3, bottom they go, you don't want them. Then the Underclock Taker, this card is great for the OTKs. Like, you get to target 1 monster your opponent you get to target one face-up monster this card points to, and 1 face-up monster your opponent controls. It loses attack based on how many based on the monster this card points to. So I don't know. You have one of your your invoke monsters has got 3,000 attack. Underclock Taker will make it lose 3,000 attack, or you use it with Skull Dread, then they will lose 2,800. You see what I mean? It just basically means you can just get over a lot of monsters with just Underclock Taker. And that's it for the deck, guys. So if you have any ways that you want me to improve this deck, let me know in the comment section down below. I'm more than welcome to it for feedback, because it really helps me evolve with making decks. If you guys enjoy this deck or have deck, like say, hit that like down below. It really helps out the channel. If you have any decks you would like me to make, put it down in the comment section down below, or go to my Twitch and ask me there, where I try to stream daily Legacy of the Duelist, maybe speed runs in the challenge, or do online draws. And with that, guys, I'm going to call it for now. Have a great day, and I'll see you on the next deck video. Take care, enjoy the replays.